Guess what? I was muted. Let me start this all over again because it's Labor Day and some of you are streaming right now by poolside, hanging out with the family. Probably had a great cookout. We hope that you had a fantastic Labor Day. I'm Shon Gables inside the Atlanta News First Plus studio. We have a lot of news to cover today, so if you're laboring on Labor Day like I am today, we are so glad you can be with us. We do consider this a privilege. And we're going to talk with our First Alert meteorologist, Patrick Pete, in just a few seconds. He's going to talk about a cool front that's headed our way, even the potential for rain. So again, a very busy day in the newsroom. If you're joining us in the Atlanta News First Plus studio, we're in the heart of Atlanta in our Atlanta News First studio. And this is where I sort of give you a behind the scenes look at some of the top stories that we're covering tonight on our newscast. And one of the big stories that we have is really an international story that is garnering a ton of headlines. Atlanta News First news anchor Tracy Hutchins has a look at some of the top stories we're following for our newscast later tonight. Take a look.
A hostage who mentored students in North Georgia found dead in Gaza. Goldberg, Poland, killed at the hands of his captors. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump focused on critical battleground states ahead of next week's presidential debate. Dramatic moments in the Chattahoochee National Forest. 66-year-old woman rescued after hurting her ankle near Panthers Creek Falls. More than 40,000 Toyotas recalled. The automaker says tow hitch covers on some Sequoia models could detach and cause a crash. Striking new images from the site of the Titanic wreckage. Deep ocean experts from Georgia-based RMS Titanic complete their first trip to the ship since 2010. A Decatur staple, Green's Fine Foods, closes its location on Trinity Place in downtown, prepares to open 2 new stores at Emery Walk in Brookhaven. The Mega Millions jackpot jumps to $681 million after 25 days without a winner. The next drawing is tomorrow.
And the other big story that we're following tonight, this one is just heartbreaking. Bremen, Georgia residents are rallying behind a high school quarterback who was seriously injured in a game on Friday. High school senior Carson Kimball was injured in the fourth quarter after being tackled at the game on Friday. Kimball was admitted to Grady Memorial after the injury, and doctors told Atlanta News First he was unable to feel anything below his waist. But tonight, there is a glimmer of hope. Atlanta News First Chelsea Bindfort reports.
He's doing good. He has a great attitude.
Cole Kimball is talking about his brother Carson, the 18-year-old Bremen High School quarterback who took a hard hit Friday night that severely injured his spine.
Yesterday, he could only feel about 2 right here on his chest, and now it's like 3 or 4 inches lower. So that's great. We're taking it day by day.
Cole says his baby brother is talking and slowly regaining some feeling in the lower half of his body, but he still has a long road ahead of him. At the Kimball's family business, Sips and Soda shop in Carrollton, employees are voluntarily working long hours to collect donations and help raise money for Carson's medical bills.
I opened and closed Monday for them because I knew it would help them. It has been really busy.
These soda shop workers say the community has been generous, bringing in cash and scanning this QR code to donate to an online fundraiser, which has already generated nearly $40,000 for the Kimball family.
Just the amount of support that they have given has been overwhelming, amazing for us to see just every little thing that they have done.
Cole Kimball says his family is asking for continued prayers from the Metro Atlanta community as Carson undergoes surgeries and recovers at Grady Hospital.
He's always had a very strong attitude and faith in Jesus Christ, and he believes in miracles.
That was Chelsea Bindfort reporting. And I mentioned earlier before we started this stream about a story that's gaining international attention that has a footprint here in Georgia. Georgia's Jewish community, they are mourning the death of 6 hostages killed in Gaza, including one with ties to Metro Atlanta. Family members of this young man here, this is 23-year-old Goldberg, Poland. His family attends a synagogue here in Atlanta. They were in Jerusalem today for an emotional homegoing ceremony. Atlanta News First reporter Patrick Quinn has more on the volunteer killed in Gaza.
We failed him. The loss is that I really believed he was going to be home.
Through tears, Rabbi Ari came inside the congregation Shearith Israel in Atlanta, echoing the emotional words from Hirsch's dad 6,000 miles away.
Hirsch, we failed you.
In Jerusalem, John Poland at his son's funeral as hundreds mourn the loss of the 23-year-old Israeli-American. Goldberg Poland was one of 6 hostages found dead this weekend, discovered in a tunnel after being taken by Hamas nearly a year ago.
The Jewish people, we are feeling vulnerable and we are feeling scared.
Inside this Atlanta synagogue, a table set for Shabbat, with 3 honorary place settings for 3 Israeli hostages with ties to this community, including Hirsch, whose cousins are congregants here. Hirsch, also growing up, was a counselor at a Passover camp in North Georgia.
He had this insatiable love of life. You could see it whenever you talked with him.
Now centered in this synagogue, a running count of the number of hostages released, still in captivity and killed. Hirsch's death not yet reflected.
For the rest of the hostages, I'm still praying that there's a seat at a Shabbat table for them that they will come home to.
Rabbi Kamen was in Israel in July with Hirsch's family in what they called a week of goodness. Today, Hirsch's mom in Jerusalem, overwhelmed by grief. Her son was not saved, but for her, he's no longer shackled.
Finally, my sweet boy, finally, you're free.
Hirsch's family hoping while his life could not be saved, maybe his death will help lead to a hostage deal, freeing others, and finally closing this conflict.
When we pray for them to come home, we mean now. And that hasn't changed from day one until now.
In Atlanta, Patrick Quinn, Atlanta News First.
And Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to retaliate as Israelis demand a ceasefire deal after the hostage's death, including Goldberg Poland's. We're going to continue to monitor this story. And other big stories that we're going to be following Atlanta News First tonight at 10 on Peachtree TV, also at 11 on Atlanta News First, and WPGA in Macon. Labor Day weekend. It has proved to be one of the most deadly car crashes in Georgia. 17 deaths have been reported in Georgia, one involving a teenager in Pike County. That's just south of Atlanta. Our reporter Bridget Spencer is speaking with the victims' parents who have a warning for families as they drive this holiday weekend. And Atlanta News First, Yasmina Alston, she's going to be speaking with residents in Decatur about a new noise ordinance. It involves leaf blowers, lawnmowers, and anything else that's noisy. We're going to have those stories and so much more tonight on Atlanta News First at 11. Make sure you join me. I'm Shon Gables. Blair Miller has the evening off, but we do have your favorite meteorologist, Patrick Pete. Yes, buddy.
Can you turn my mic on?
Is your mic on?
It's not.
It's not? How about now? Is your mic on?
Yes, about that story that you were just talking about, I heard somebody say something about a decibel. Like, who's walking around with a decibel meter to determine how loud noise is? Like,
Patrick.
whose child are you?
Well, you know what the deal is, though, is that, I mean, sometimes you do have to have some limitations, because some people don't know that you don't mow grass at 6 o'clock in the morning. And they also don't know that you don't play your music. If you're a college student, you don't play your music. What am I doing here wrong? Help me out, buddy.
I got you.
They don't, you don't play your music at 4 o'clock in the morning when kids are trying to get ready for school. I mean, Labor Day weekend is over. Folks are getting ready to go back to, they're about to go back to college here, or go back to school, go back to work. We're in here laboring on Labor Day, but there are a lot of folks who got the day off,
There we
Patrick.
go.
Having
Yeah.
a good time.
Yeah, but like I'm talking about, like, definitely the music. I don't want anybody being tasteless, playing music, loud music. My neighbor upstairs in my apartment building, he has an issue with understanding how heavy his feet are. And this has nothing to do with
But that's not his
size.
fault.
Because he's a skinny dude. He's a tall, skinny dude.
That has
But I
nothing. That's
promise
not
you,
his fault. It's probably
But
the
those
construction.
decibels- those
the
decibels
are
are keeping
loud,
me
but that's
awake.
not his fault. But we're talking about people who intentionally just need laws because they're clueless sometimes.
Okay.
They just don't understand. You don't start lawn work at 3 in the morning. And
Listen,
you
if
don't-
it's
and you don't
hot, if we're under
and
a
you don't
heated-
begin it at 8 o'clock at night.
if we're under a heat advisory, the meteorologist says you do it either pre-dawn.
Well, and that's why they're doing
We
it.
never
folks.
say 3 a.m., folks.
Well-
we always say normally, 6, 7, 8, 9. You just
Well,
want to do
listen,
it
the
before the
city of
heating of the
Decatur
day.
is no longer playing with folks. You either are going to abide by the rules, or tonight, Yasmina also is going to hopefully explain if they're going to even be able to enforce
Right,
this.
because nobody has a decibel. That's what I'm saying. Nobody has a decibel meter. Okay, you're mowing your lawn, and it's 27 decibels, and the limit is 30.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
I'm petty. I'm gonna play all the way up to the 29, but that's just me.
Well, Patrick, I love having you, but I've got work to do. We've got a busy newscast that we're working on tonight. So break down this cold front because I'm ready for the cooler air.
Okay, I got you covered. So the boundary pushed through today. It's to the south of us. That's why we're dealing with some spotty showers out there. Let me see if y'all are streaming on YouTube. Okay, y'all are there. Hey, YouTube. Good evening to everybody that's joining us at home. I just need to press a couple of buttons to get us where we need to be. Here's a live look right now at First Alert Radar, and you can see that we are mainly dry out there. There's some spotty showers in extreme northeast Georgia. I'm looking at you that looks like it's out towards Raven County. We're dealing with some showers moving into White, even some in the Hall County. Folks in Gainesville getting in on some of that rain. Haven't seen much in the way of electricity with these clusters, and I expect that to continue to be the story as we head through the next couple of hours. Feel free to jump in the comments if you have any questions. If you're on YouTube following us, we can dive into that. But we are keeping a 20% chance of some spotty showers and even a stray rumble around through the next few hours into the overnight, just because we expect there to be some lingering moisture around. And some of that could even be out there when you head out of the door tomorrow morning, but very isolated. We're not expecting this to be something that everyone experiences. So the cold front moved through, and there's high pressure well to the north of us. And if there's anything that all of the frequent viewers of this channel know is that air pretty much flows clockwise around areas of high pressure, right? And also, a lot of the times whenever we're dealing with our forecasting, the wind direction has a lot to do with what we experience, whether that's from a temperature perspective or whether that's from a dew point perspective. And in this case, it's going to be both because this northeast breeze is going to usher in some cooler temperature and some drier air. So it'll be less humid, which is great news because it was a little soupy out there today whenever I stepped outside. Let's get you through the day tomorrow, hour by hour, where there's a little bit of moisture around tomorrow morning. We're going to call it a 20% chance of showers for one reason only. If you get in your car tomorrow at 7 and you're one of the, maybe 50 or 60 people that may run into some sprinkles on the roadways, we don't want you to tell us that we didn't tell you, right? So spotty showers, nothing to write home about. The rest of the day trends drier, but it will be partly to mostly cloudy skies because essentially that wedging will also bring in more clouds. So we expect temperatures to be cooler because of the clouds, because of the airflow, and because of the breezy wind. Here's a look at the hour-by-hour wind gusts tomorrow. We're talking about, on average, 20 to 25 miles per hour wind gusts earlier on in the day. I think our gustiest winds will happen during the morning hours and early afternoon. Winds should decrease as we head later into the day and become more manageable. And temperatures are going to respond because of all these factors that we've been talking about. Only getting into the lower 80s tomorrow afternoon, I think it's going to be a win. At most, I think we'll see maybe a couple of spots hit 85, but everyone's going to be below average, which is fantastic. And I expect dew points to actually drop through the day because I expect it to take a little while for that drier air to get in. And that means that through the evening hours tomorrow and into the start of your Wednesday, forgive me, it's Labor Day, and this is a labor of love, and our management team, our bosses, they brought us food, and I was embellishing in the food, and little air, but here we are. But nonetheless, drier air, cooler temperatures to start off your Wednesday morning. I actually think Wednesday is going to feel amazing. If you have an outdoor run that you want to get done before you go to work, maybe you want to get some yard work done, maybe you want to I'm not going to say mow the lawn because of this new rule that's coming up in some place that you're going to hear about tonight on Atlanta News First at 11. But if you had things to get done early in the morning, bike ride, all that good stuff, it's going to be fantastic. Temperatures in the low to mid 60s, maybe some 50s out there. I'm not going to quite say hoodie season for everybody, but a couple of spots like Blairsville, Rome, you may be reaching for the hoodie in the morning before you head out of the door, at least for a couple of hours as those temperatures slide into the 50s. But we all rebound into the mid to upper 70s as we head into the afternoon and expect it to be quite gorgeous, partly cloudy skies. And a degree or two cooler Wednesday versus tomorrow. So we're going to go from the mid 80s to the lower 80s, and then we'll see cloud cover build in, and we'll bring in the chance for some spotty showers. Now, I want to go on record and say that we have issued a first alert weather day for Friday, We issued it yesterday. Our whole goal with the first alerts is to basically tell you, hey, this is a day we're watching because it looks like it's going to be whatever the first alert is for. In this case, it's because we expect it to be a little rainy, a little stormy. With that being said, some of the guidance today, not all of the guidance, but some of the guidance is starting to dial back on that rain moving into our area. So that means that for now, we're going to go with the slightly lower rain chance Thursday, maybe some spotty showers and storms. Right now, it looks like the further south you are, the better chance you will get in on this rain on Thursday. And Friday continues to be that same trend. So we're going to look for trend lines. For now, we're going to keep Friday as a first alert. But if that rain chance continues to diminish, we will probably peel that back because that's just the way the forecast goes sometimes. We are expecting a cold front to eventually move through the area sometime on Saturday. And with it, that's going to bring its own separate chance for rain. The original chance for rain is basically because of a low pressure system that's going to track to the south of us. The secondary rain chance on Saturday will be because of that passing cold front. But right now, it looks like that's going to be pretty light in nature. So a lot of things that we're watching as we head towards the end of the week for now. Friday's the day that we're circling for the best chance for rain and thunderstorms. Just know that that is subject to change if the models continue to trend a little bit drier. In either case, I think temperatures are going to be something that we all like as we head through the next week because it's pretty much mid-80s, lower 80s for the bulk of this 7-day forecast. Could even see some locations top out in the upper 70s on Friday. Keeping an eye on the tropics because we are quickly approaching the peak of hurricane season. We're about, 9 days away from that. We're watching two areas of low pressure, one wave that's moving through the Caribbean. It has about a 40% chance of development over the course of the next week. Guidance looks to like that system developing. Another low just coming off of the coast of Africa, looking a little shabby right now, but also has about a 40% chance of development within the next 7 days. So those are the two areas that we're watching. And, of course, if that changes, if anything gets upgraded, we'll let you know on the First Alert Weather app, but we'll also let you know here and on air. So I'm going to leave you all to the 7-day forecast so that you can plan ahead. And I will get this off the screen so that you can have full view of that. Check the YouTube comments to see if there's anything that I need to answer to. Nope, you guys are quiet, which is great. And I will see you guys on the airwaves at 10:30 or 10 o'clock. So that's about an hour and 45 minutes away. Have a fantastic rest of your Labor Day.